Hey, this is Clay with Clay's AC and Auto Repair and Clay Motion here in Grand Rapids. Like us on Facebook under Clay's AC and Auto Repair. And this video is helpful. Please like, share, most of all, subscribe, comment. Nice ones are great. Remember, if anybody else can do it, you can do it too. So I'm going to give you an example, kind of instructions on how to remove a transfer case out of a V6 Ford Escape 2001. I've already done it, so but I'm going to give you some helpful hints and stuff like that. We had a couple things. First off, we started with the exhaust manifold. We had, I believe, if I remember right, there was these were about 13 or 14 millimeter bolt nuts. They were all rusted off on ours, so we ended up having to cut the nut back and take that off. And then we had two that went up through the exhaust manifold, and you'll have a Y pipe sitting there. We had two nuts that we had to take off of that, and then we were able to remove this portion of the exhaust back to the cat. That was the first thing that we did. The next thing that we did was we pulled the cross member that was down there, and that's right over there on the floor. They were, if I remember right, 14 or 15 millimeter bolts. Then we removed the drive shaft, which is kind of a modular assembly that removes from the pumpkin. Then we ended up having to take the exhaust manifold out itself. Alternator
first.
Okay.
Then this bracket then the exhaust manifold comes out.
Yep.
Then there's a bracket that sits right here.
And then we're T50 Torx bolts right here.
T50 Torx.
T50 Torx here.
6 of those, I believe.
And then we had 3, which were E14 Torx head. They're inverted wherever they're at, right there, right here. And you can use an 11 millimeter. Hey, there's a use for an 11 millimeter. Never use 11 millimeter on anything, but on this it would work. So you can use a 6-point 11 millimeter to take them out if you don't have inverted Torx, which most people don't. Removed 3 bolts on this side and 1 13 millimeter bolt on the other side. Then we were able to pull the transfer case out, and we got the transfer case out, and we think it's kind of neat. We'll show you what that looks like, because it's really pretty. I don't know, you don't really need to be a mechanic to know that this is junk. Obviously we had a bearing fail right there. These people obviously drove it a little bit. Not a big deal. Luckily we didn't have any bad seals here, as Jeff pointed out to me, and we didn't contaminate our transmission. Then obviously we removed the axle. And how we removed the axle was, we found it easier, and we know it is because we've been working on cars for a long time, to remove these. And if I remember right, these are about 18 millimeter bolts. We did not remove the ball joint. And the reason we didn't remove the ball joint was because if you start removing the ball joint, you have big problems. We also removed the caliper. The reason we removed the caliper was because we needed to be able to pull the axle out. And Jeff got underneath there as I gave the axle a little bit of tug. We couldn't get to snap out, so we just took and used a hammer and knocked it this way, and then that axle popped right out for us. And then we pulled the carrier bearing because they're 2 separate pieces. This is really a pretty big job. If you're doing this in your driveway, it's not going to be fun. I would think the number to pay a shop to do this is probably somewhere between $300 to $500 would be a fair number. Remember, shops have liability, and they have employees, and then they have big ass toolboxes that they have to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for. But but if I can do it, you guys can surely do it. So remember, you can't break what's already broken, so you might as well try. If this video is helpful, please like, share, comment, subscribe to me. That's a big deal. Thank you so much, and have a great day.